In this spreadsheet, we have weather observations, daily weather observations for Marquette, Michigan. So for every day, they've been recording the precipitation, snow, snow depth, temperature max, temperature minimum, and observed temperatures. There's a bunch of other columns too, like for fog, thunder, other things. But in this example, we are just going to focus on the T max column. So we just want to create a chart that maps the maximum temperature over time. So we've got data from 1990 through 2017 here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we could, select the dates, and gosh, we have a lot of data. So we could be doing this for a very long time. You can see scrolling down here on the right, it's going to take a while. It's not a very good way to do this in this specific instance. Selecting a lot of data. What we can do, we can just make sure our cursor is inside this data table. We can go to Insert, and we can choose a line chart, basic line chart. Microsoft Excel is going to try to guess what we want. It's not exactly what we want, but it's kind of close. So you can see here in purple, Excel is guessing that we want that to be our x-axis, so that's good. That is what we want. But it's using all of these values on the right as the y-axis, and it just doesn't look good. It's not what we want. So we can actually use these handles over here to reduce the data to the columns that we want. This is looking better. It wouldn't make sense to represent precipitation on the same chart. So this is looking better. So here we have this label. We can change this manually. Max temperatures. That would work just fine. So this chart, there's a lot of data represented on it, thousands of observations. Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's get rid of that legend because it doesn't matter anymore because we only have one value on our y-axis. Tons of data points here. The lines are a little bit thick, a little bit messy, but that's okay. We can deal with it. So let's take a look here. We have some very low temperatures. High temperatures in the negatives, those are painful days. And looks like we've come close to 100, haven't quite made it there. But now, are these temperatures increasing or decreasing over time? That's a question that we should ask ourselves. Thinking about global warming. Is Marquette getting warmer? Or is it getting colder? Is it staying the same? Who knows? For sure, just glancing at this, there's no way, looking at the raw data, we can't tell that. There's no way you can just page down through all this data and make a determination, is Marquette getting warmer or colder? Looking at this graph, it might help a little bit. We're seeing obviously there are fluctuations, winter to summer, but what is the trend over time? Well, we can select this chart and we can click plus and we can add a trend line. Okay, was that super helpful? That trend line is buried in there somewhere. I've got it selected now, but I'm going to change the color. There we go. So you can at least see it now. So that's good. You might want to make it thicker. So with that trend line selected, we can go to formatting. I'll make it wider, and I don't want it dashed. Let's just make it a solid line. That's okay. It looks flat-ish. So that's not good enough. Saying it's flattish. I want to know, is it going up or is it going down, even by a very small amount? So let's take a look. If we go to this trend line, we can click the arrow to find more options. And let's display the equation on the chart. And once again, it's pretty small, hard to read. So I'm going to move this equation up a little bit so I can read that now. Okay. But what does this mean? Y equals negative 2e negative 05x plus 51.701. All right, what does this tell us about temperatures over time? Well, this 51.701, that is about the average temperature. If we kind of just look here, the average is between 40 and 60, a little bit closer to 60. So that's, you know, a value of 51 makes sense looking at this chart. But here is the slope. I mean, this is the formula, y equals mx plus b. M is the slope in that equation. And here it's negative 2e negative 05x. So that's using the scientific notation. It's a negative number though. That negative number means that over time, between 1990 and 2017, the maximum temperature in Marquette has actually been decreasing. Now, this isn't proof that global warming is a hoax or anything. We're just looking at what the data tells us. And Marquette's average temperature average high temperature has been decreasing slightly, very slightly every day since between 1990 and the end of 2017. So it's important to know how to interpret that trend line, know what it's saying. You can change the format of this chart. I mean, looks like Excel is not being too happy with me right now with these different options, just because there's a lot of data. These chart styles aren't loading super fast. But I think for our purposes, this max temperatures chart is looking okay.